Hi, this is Brett from SR Moto, and today I wanted to do a 10 best mods for the WR250R video. We've been selling parts and accessories for the Yamaha WR250R Dual Sport basically since the bike came out. I think we started selling parts for these around 2009, 2010. The bike came out in 2008. So over the years, we've kind of seen, what our customers are buying for these bikes. And then we also have this project bike here that we've done a lot of stuff to over the years. So that's kind of given us an idea of, what works on the bike and what doesn't. So today I'm going to do sort of what I think are the 10 best mods for the bike. So if you've got a WR250R and you're interested, in modifications for it, stay tuned to this video. I'll go through what I think are kind of the 10 best modifications for the bike. All the stuff that I talk about in this video all the parts I talk about in this video are going to work on a 2008 to 2020 WR250R Dual Sport, and then they'll also, for the most part, work on the 2008 to 2011 WR250X Supermoto, which is the Supermoto version of this bike. And what I'll do is I'll put links in the video description down below to our website where I've compiled this list. So once you're done watching the video, check that video description for some more details. This list, I've sort of put this list together based on not only what our customers have bought for these bikes over the years, but also my kind of personal opinion on what the bike needs. The list is in no particular order, so I'll just kind of start out with the first thing, which has been a very popular product over the years, and that's the Yamaha lowering link. These bikes from the factory are very tall seat height, so a lot of customers want to lower them. This Yamaha link is one way to do it. This will lower your seat height about an inch on its own, and then combine that with the factory lowering option. If you do a Google search on that, you'll find some info on it. You can get another 3/4 of an inch to an inch. So you can get, almost 2 inches lower on the seat height if you go with one of these Yamaha links. Real popular, like I said, since the bike is so tall. We also, when we did that, we lowered the front end a little bit by raising the forks up in the triple clamps about 1/2 an inch, just to kind of level the bike out a little bit. So that's the Yamaha lowering link. You can get them in anodized blue or anodized black. Another popular product over the years has been the Moose Racing plastic skid plate. These bikes don't come from the factory with any type of skid plate to protect the frame or the engine. So if you're doing any type of off-road riding, you definitely want to do some sort of skid plate. You'll see a lot of aftermarket aluminum skid plates. We've used a couple of those, and those work really well. The aluminum ones tend to vibrate and make a little bit of noise on these smaller thumpers. So I like the plastic skid plates. These will just still give you a lot of protection, but they're not going to vibrate and make a lot of noise like the aluminum skid plates. So if you're looking for a skid plate, definitely consider one of these from Moose Racing. It does a really good job of, protecting the frame, sides of the engine, bottom of the frame, and stuff like that. And they're available in black plastic. Again, it's the Moose Racing plastic skid plate. Another really popular upgrade would be the IMAS 3-gallon gas tank. These bikes come from Yamaha with just a very small 2-gallon gas tank, which is not going to give you a lot of range, even, if you're getting the, advertised 70-ish miles per hour. 2 gallons is just not going to give you a lot of range, especially if you're riding these bikes, in areas where there's not a lot of gas stations and stuff. Upgrading to this 3-gallon tank is going to give you another gallon of fuel, so a lot more range. These are available in black, natural, or blue. And, when you have it installed on the bike, you can't even really tell there's an aftermarket gas tank. They look very similar to the stock tank. The stock shrouds go back on. So from a look standpoint, can't even really tell, but you've got another gallon of fuel. So definitely one thing to consider if you're doing longer rides on your WR250R. Handguards and handlebars, I'll kind of combine those into one because a lot of customers do those at the same time. You know, the bike does not come from the factory with any type of aftermarket or handguards on it. It does have steel handlebars that are 7/8 inch in size. A lot of customers will upgrade to an oversized aluminum handlebar like we've got here. These are the Pro Taper Evo handlebars in the steering dampener low bend. We did this particular handlebar, it's kind of a flatter handlebar because we did the Scott steering stabilizer, which comes with risers which raise the handlebars up pretty high so that that stabilizer fits under the bars. So we went with a little bit flatter handlebar, and we're still roughly, I think, about an inch and a half taller than the stock bars. So these are going to be, you know, more durable since they're aluminum. They're taller, so they're going to work better, you know, if you're standing up. Definitely, you know, you'll see most customers that have one of these bikes are going to have some sort of aftermarket handlebar. We like the Pro Tapers. These are the Pro Taper Evos, as I mentioned. The other popular Pro Taper would be the Contour, which is another oversized 1 1/8 inch aluminum bar. Come in, you know, various bends, different bends. The popular ones for this bike seem to be like the Woods High bend, the Henry Reed bend. So those are some of the ones to look into. So that's the handlebars. And then handguards are going to be a must if you're riding off-road. They're going to protect your controls, protect your hands and stuff like that. If you drop the bike or if you're riding, you know, where there's tree branches and stuff like that, these are just going to give you a little bit of extra protection. Now, these are one of our most popular products. These are the Zeta Armor handguards, and basically, you know, aluminum handguard inserts into the end of the handlebars, and then typically they mount up to your handlebars with handlebar clamps, but we've done the optional Zeta triple clamp mounts, which bolt the inboard part of the handguard to the top triple clamp. Just gives you a kind of a more rigid mounting point for the handguard, keeps the handlebars a little less cluttered since you don't have clamps on the handlebars. So that's the Zeta Armor handguards with the Zeta triple clamp mounts, side mount style. And then we've got the Zeta plastic protectors screwed to the front of those. One of the nice options I'll show you here with the Zeta handguards is they have an optional integrated LED turn signal feature, so you can ditch those big factory stock front turn signals and have the integrated turn signals in the handguards themselves. That's a real popular upgrade for these bikes and a bunch of the other dual sports we sort of deal with. So that's the Zeta Armor handguards. We also carry the Zeta Pro Armor handguards, which are very similar to these, but just kind of an upgraded version of them, a little bit stronger insert design that goes in the end of the handlebar. They've got little plastic bumpers that are attached to the outer edge to protect the aluminum. You can choose, you know, the mount kit you want. One of the mount kits you can do is the Zeta triple clamp mount. So if you want a little bit higher end handguard, check out those Zeta Pro Armor handguards. So the next thing on my list is going to be the mirrors. You know, the stock mirrors on these bikes are kind of more of a street bike mirror. They're a fixed mounted mirror. They thread into the stock clutch and brake lever perches, and they work fine for the street. You know, you can see out of them really well. They don't vibrate, but for off-road riding, they're not going to be ideal. They're not going to be very durable since they're fixed mounted. If you drop the bike or hit the mirrors on something, they're going to bend, or potentially, you know, if you hit them hard enough, they could break off at where they're threaded into the perch. And if that happens on like the brake side, it could damage the brake reservoir. So it could be a pretty costly repair. So what we do on all of our bikes that we ride off-road is we'll go with something like these double take enduro mirrors, we sell a package deal where you get a pair of the mirrors, replace both your factory mirrors. They thread right into the stock clutch and brake perch, and basically utilize ram mounts. And the advantage of these, not only are they much more durable, because if you hit these on something, they've got pivot points here where they're just going to pivot out of the way instead of bend or break. So that's one thing, they're just going to be a lot more durable. The other thing is you can install these, remove them, or adjust them without any type of tools. You don't need to get your wrench out or anything. All you do is loosen this knob up. You can move the mirrors around, adjust them, remove them from the bike if you want, just with the turn of that knob. So they're adjustable and just really easy to deal with without any type of tools. So if you're looking for, aftermarket mirrors for off-road riding, definitely consider these Double Take Enduros. Double Take also makes another mirror that we carry called the Adventure mirror, which is just a slightly different design, and it's more designed sort of for adventure bikes. But if you're doing a lot of highway riding, mostly on your WR250R, and not really a lot of off-road riding, you might want to consider those Double Take Adventures. Taillight kit, another very popular modification. These bikes come with that sort of big, sort of ugly taillight assembly that hangs off the back of the bike. So a lot of people will do a fender eliminator to kind of clean the back end of the bike up. On this bike, we're running the DRC Edge 2 integrated taillight kit, which just gives you everything to replace that kind of big ugly stock taillight assembly. It gives you a license plate mount, license plate light. For this one, you can run it as an integrated taillight kit, so the turn signals would actually flash right within the taillight itself, and you wouldn't have any external turn signals. A lot of off-road guys will run that setup since you don't have turn signals sticking out that can get broken off. We've bolted up a set of 12 O'Clock Labs animated LED turn signals to the side of this, kind of show you what they look like, because we just wanted external turn signals on it. So that's what it looks like when they're flashing. And again, it just makes the back end of the bike look much better. It's got safety brake pulsing built in, so it'll pulse the brake light every time you hit your brakes. Nice safety feature. Super bright LEDs. Again, just one of the more popular upgrades. You won't see a lot of these bikes running around that still have the stock taillight assembly on them. Another lighting related item, and I'm not really going to be able to show you here because I don't have the bike running, and the stock headlight doesn't come on until the bike's running. But we've replaced that stock halogen headlight bulb with a Cyclops LED headlight bulb, which is just a much brighter bulb, much whiter in color. The stock halogens are kind of that yellowish color. So if you're looking for something brighter, especially if you're riding off-road after dark or just want to be more visible on the road, highly recommend that Cyclops LED bulb. We've sold a lot of those over the years. Foot pegs. These bikes come from the factory with foot pegs that are very narrow and kind of on the small side, and kind of made out of that cheap steel material. They're known to get bent if you hit them on something. So we typically, like on most dual sport bikes like this, we'll replace the stock foot pegs right off the bat. A couple different ones I'd recommend for these bikes. These are the Zeta aluminum foot pegs. They're available in anodized blue. Much larger size than those stock foot pegs, so larger surface area to stand on, so a lot more comfortable when you're standing up. And a lot more traction as well because they've got the threaded cleats, 3 rows of those, so a lot more grip and traction than those stock foot pegs. So these are the Zeta aluminum foot pegs, and then DRC also makes an ultra wide foot peg, which is the same size as these. It's a little bit less expensive. It's made out of steel and coated in a black finish, just a little bit less expensive than these Zeta aluminums. So definitely check out either the Zeta aluminum foot pegs or the DRC ultra wides. Another obvious upgrade that's going to be tires. Stock tires, not very good. we took those off almost immediately when we got the bike. We've had several different combinations of tires over the years. We just put these on. This is a real popular setup for off-road riding. If you're doing kind of 90% off-road, 10% street riding. We've got the Dunlop D606s in the rear. I think these are 120, 90, 18 size. Real popular dual sport off-road tire. And then in the front, Pirelli 90, 21 size in the MT21, which is another popular kind of 90-10 tire. So if you're doing mostly off-road and just a little bit of street, that's a really popular setup. If you're doing like a 50-50 mix of street and off-road, we had Michelin Anarchy Wilds on this bike prior to this, and those were a really good tire. Still worked really good on the street, and you could still do some off-roading with them. So if you're doing kind of a 50-50 mix, definitely look at those Michelin Anarchy Wilds. Also, real popular is obviously going to be performance modifications. These bikes come from the factory pretty corked up. You know, they're sort of set up, you know, Yamaha sets these up obviously to meet emissions requirements. They want to maximize the fuel mileage. I think they sort of have on the website that they get like 72 miles per gallon. So they're not going to have any type of performance tune to them. So they're pretty corked up. So you can really improve the performance of these by, adding an aftermarket exhaust system and a fuel injection controller. A couple different options you can go with. One of the more popular ones over the years has been this FMF Q4 system. So FMF Q4 muffler, FMF Megabomb header pipe. That's going to be the quietest exhaust that you can get for these bikes. Still going to be louder than that stock exhaust, but they're definitely on the quieter side. On this bike, we've got the Pro Circuit T4 full exhaust system. This is going to be a little bit louder, but a little bit more open exhaust. So you probably get slightly better performance out of this, but it is definitely louder than that Q4. One of the nice things about these, they weld on mounting points for the stock muffler heat shield. So if you are using saddlebags on the bike and want to protect those from the muffler, you can bolt up that stock muffler heat shield to this muffler. It's kind of a unique thing to the Pro Circuits. FMF, Yoshimura, they didn't bother adding mounting points for that. Also, on the header pipe, they've got mounting points for the stock header heat shield. So that's Pro Circuit T4. To get the bike running properly, you're definitely going to want to do some sort of fuel injection controller. On this bike, we've done DynoJet Power Commander, which has been very popular over the years. That's one way you can go. Another real popular way to go would be like the EJK EFI controllers, which is another plug and play piggyback type controller. JD Jetting makes one. We happen to have the Power Commanders on both of these bikes. Our WR250X as well. Now, when you do that, it really wakes these bikes up. I mean, as I mentioned, they're pretty corked up from the factory, so you're going to get much better performance, especially in the lower RPMs. Obviously, it's going to sound much better with the aftermarket exhaust system. So you definitely can't go wrong with doing a full exhaust system and some sort of EFI controller. I think that's 10. I think I'm at 10, but I'm going to throw another one in here. We don't carry these anymore, but over the years we sold a lot of these Seat Concepts comfort seats. You can still get these directly from Seat Concepts. If you're doing long rides on the bike, this is definitely a must-have because it's going to be much more comfortable than that stock seat. Stock seat's pretty narrow on these bikes. The Seat Concept seat's about 1.5 inches wider, I think. So a lot larger surface area to sit on, and then the proprietary foam they use is just much more comfortable. But you can also get them in a low height version like we've got here, which is about 3/4 inch lower than stock. And then they have a standard height as well. So definitely something to look into if you're putting a lot of miles on your bike and want a more comfortable seat. So that's the Seat Concepts comfort seat. So I think that's about it. That's what I think are probably the 10 best mods you can do to your WR250R. If you have any questions or comments about this, leave a comment down below. I try to check those every once in a while. We also have an email address on the website. As mentioned, I will put a link in the video description below to this project bike page if you want to see all the parts listed out and see more photos of the bike and stuff like that. Definitely check that video description. If you found the video helpful, definitely give us a like. And if you want to see more videos on the WR250R and some of the other bikes that we sort of specialize in, Tenere 700s, WR250Xs, Suzuki DRZ 400s, Honda CRF 300Ls, subscribe to the channel. We'll be doing, project bike updates as well as product reviews whenever we get the time. So I think that's it for now. Again, it's Brett from SR Moto and the top 10 best mods for your WR250R Yamaha. Thanks for watching.